Meant to Be Well Summit is created by three incredible women, Ambreen, Valerie and Andrea. The main objective is to bring together experts from around the world to raise awareness about the importance of holistic well-being. This summit aims to explore the multidimensional aspects of well-being, including physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This isn't just any event, it's a unique, global summit marathon designed to cover all time zones across the globe. We created this event because we genuinely care about you. We believe that everyone deserves to thrive and live a life of well-being. This summit isn't just about learning, it's about transforming your life. Our speakers are dedicated to inspire, uplift, and help you tap into your full potential. Join us, and let these world-class thought leaders guide you toward a higher level of mental, physical, and spiritual well-being.
Hello everyone, welcome back again. And this session is all about teaching you how you can avoid burnout, or how you can survive when you are living in a very stressful environment. So I'm so honored that today we have Coach Wanda with us. And I'm so grateful that she actually joined in this panel discussion just 2 hours earlier. And then she's again with us on this important topic to discuss. She is a keynote speaker. She is also the one of the top LinkedIn Filipina in the on the LinkedIn, and she has she has actually trained several coaches on to actually survive the burnout and actually come back after the burnout. So she's a podcast host, she's coach, most influential in Filipina on the LinkedIn, and we will be talking about that, how you can rebuild yourself from exhaustion to and break free from the burnout. So thank you so much for joining, Wanda.
Thank you, Ambreen. It's an honor to be here because I also believe we are all meant to be well.
Yeah, yes, it's very important, and especially this. This is the month of October, the month of mental health awareness month. And I think this is the best time we can actually create this movement to create awareness about mental health. And nowadays it's much more needed because there's so much, I would say, people are suffering in silence, in isolation. And when we get these kind of opportunities, it's just like putting these opportunities right on their face to learn from this. Because I know, like we just were discussing that in-person events are very important, and I really enjoy that. But these kind of events help people to actually don't have to go there to actually experience these learning or avail these chance to learn. This is just right in their face, and you just need to click one button and you see you get the access to all those expert advice, which you might not have, which might not have been possible for you to actually travel all across the world to access all these information. So this is a unique event. This is the opportunity we can do for them. So let's move to the presentation that I'll give you the stage to you, Wanda. Yeah. So.
Thank you, Ambreen. And first, I want to congratulate and honor you, Andre and Valerie. I know. I've been organizing events myself. I know it's very difficult.
I know.
I want to congratulate and honor you for the work that you're doing. I think, at the end of the day, whatever you're doing, I know it will create a positive impact to many. And I just wish that we can do this, I will always be here if there's any way I can support you. But today, allow me to share. I have so many stories. When you spoke about suffering in silence, my mind's like, what? Yeah, there's so much.
Yeah.
But I think I have become an expert, in moving from exhaustion to evolution. And I want to share today, how to break free from burnout. Let me just, I think my slide's not moving, Ambreen, yeah?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's Just a second. It's actually, is it just one? Because yeah, for me also, I cannot move
Yeah,
it.
it's moving. Okay,
Uh,
okay,
is it?
okay. Let's move
You
from
have
here.
the.
It's right now.
Oh,
It's a it's on the other screen. Is it
okay.
moving now?
Yeah, now it's okay. Okay, that's
Sorry.
great. No
So
problem.
maybe just a bit of introduction about myself. I'm holding, I realize I've been burned out because there are many roles in my life that I'm playing. Like I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm the youngest daughter in a single parent, family, but I was the breadwinner.
Okay.
So for the last 20 plus years of my career, I never knew I was like, initially we're to speaking with Dennis and Haycon on the summit. I was like hustling, doing everything. But I think there were moments in my life where I experienced some burnout. Like in 2006, we never had a house. So I bought my mom a house. But
Mm-hmm.
as a result of that, I was buried in debt. So I was only 26 and I was like calculating, how am I going to pay this debt? And realized, wait, this is like financial burnout already. But thankfully, it was also 2006 when I got moved to Dubai. I mean, I was hired by Emirates Airlines, so that was a blessing. 2014 was another journey. I am then a mother of two. I was an audit manager, but I was juggling too many things. And I think the problem with that is I was always sick. My daughters were always sick. And people said their levels of burnout, that was physical burnout for me. So that led me now to finding natural ways to heal myself and my children because we used to spend a lot of time on clinics and hospitals. And the neurolinguistic program, it's like, how the mind works really shifted our health and our happiness 360 degrees. Now, come 2016, I was like at the peak of my career. I was like having everything, the life I've always dreamed of, this career, but I was like something felt missing. I mean, at that point, I was really suffering in silence and dream because I was like asking myself why I have everything, but I feel empty and unhappy.
Yeah.
And I was so scared to speak about it because I know there's so many people who are suffering. But then I realized it was a calling for me that other than auditing, you know, auditing companies, I can also audit people's lives. So that
Yeah.
now led to my reinvention as a coach and consultant and corporate trainer. Now only this year there's another thing that happened. It was May. My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. It
Oh,
was really beyond words. I mean, to even describe it up to now. But I think, keeping me every day to my toes is wait. I learned how cancer is the number one cause of death, number two cause of death in the
oh,
world. And
oh.
it's scary when they said 1 in 3 men can have it in their lifetime. And then women also can have it. So I was like, I really need to make this mission to create a happier and healthier world. So I started the Cancer Conversations podcast and I'm
Mhm.
starting the Cancer Aid Clinic. So if you have seen my life trajectory has really evolved from exhaustion to
Yeah,
evolution. So
yeah.
it's not easy. I will be honest, picking up myself from whatever challenges I had was not easy. But today I want to talk about what is really about burnout and how can you break free from it and make meaning from that. So this is just the terminology used by the World Health Organization. They said it's a chronic workplace stress and it's about feeling of energy depletion or exhaustion. So, what's surprising for me, Ambrin, back then was that I've always loved my job when I was with Emirates and I was traveling the world. It was free. I was traveling on business class. I don't pay anything. I get to meet different people.
Mhm.
But I was like, why I've always loved this job and I wanted it, but there's some feeling of depletion and exhaustion. And it started to bother me because I started to lose enthusiasm in what I'm doing, and that was happening to me in terms of there's increased mental distance from work, and it actually improved affected my productivity also. And if you're thinking what is really burnout, let's talk more about the science. So
Yeah.
if somehow you have like this, then I think it's kind of burnout already. Number one, if you're always absent at work, I remember there was a time my manager spoke to me. It's like, why are you always sick, Wanda? Like every month, literally, I will have a sick leave unintentionally. I wasn't even aware of it, but either I am sick or my children are sick. I pass it on to them, or you pass it on to me. I'm being as a mother, right?
Yeah.
It's I mean, I'm okay, but when my children get sick, then it's different. So, that time I was feeling drained all the time. I was struggling with fear and self doubt, and I think there's some feeling of overwhelm.
Mm.
And you're also always on low energy or irritable. I mean, I barely get upset, but at some
Yeah.
stage in the moment I feel that, wait, why am I becoming irritable here? Then I realized there's something already. And I remember I used to suffer with insomnia. Like I really
Oh,
find it hard to sleep because there's so many things going on my mind. Those are signs of burnout and frequent sicknesses that. And while you're playing that introductory video, right? You said the Meant to Be Well Summit is about taking the mental, emotional, spiritual. Actually, if you look at burnout, it's all aspects of life. It's affecting your physical body because you're sick, you cannot sleep. It's affecting you mentally because you cannot function. So it's really all connected, even your emotions too. And those are just some of the signs. And you might be asking why. I
yeah.
asked myself, why are we getting burned out? And I realized number one, there's too much work.
Yeah.
We have brain human doing, as we call it,
Yeah.
right? We've led so busy lives, and the people we deal with every day also, specifically those difficult people, create events of mini traumas in your
Yeah.
life been aware of. Even the pressure. I mean, there's so much pressure personally. There's so much pressure in society, in the family, that leads to so many personal problems, right? And I think the scariest part is we don't get support, even sometimes from our family, because they don't get. I was like, when I was telling one of my friends, I want to leave my job. I want to become a housewife. So they're like, "Are you crazy, Wanda? Why will you leave this
Yeah.
job that you've always wanted and you've worked so hard?" It's like, but I was like, but I just want to be a housewife. But I think also the lack of purpose and meaning of what you're doing, that's one of the causes, because you could be working so much or sometimes you don't have work at all, but if there's no root meaning or purpose in what you're doing, definitely you will get burnout. I've met a lot of people, you know you thought they will not have problems because they're taken care of,
Yeah.
they're provided, they came from a rich family. And I remember what one of these guys said in one of my workshops. He said, Wanda, I think my problem is that I don't have a problem. It's like,
Yeah. That's a
that's,
good one. Yeah.
that's strange, right, Amrin? So that guy said, because everything was provided by my family, they stole me from feeling pain. And for that, I don't know the meaning of my life. And I was like, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
coming from so much problems, I was like, I thought, this is too much. But hearing that person made me understand, wait, our problems are actually not problems, right? It's
Yeah.
actually on how you grow from it. So that is important, which is why bringing me to the next thing I want
Yeah.
to say, and what I learned, burnout, it's the highest cost in your life and also in your company. So maybe if you have an organization, if you're leading that, or if you're working for an organization, and let me expand on that further. Because if you are burnout personally, definitely you'll not become a good parent. I've been an ineffective parent, and I realized how there's a misalignment initially during the start of my parenting years was difficult because I didn't know how to parent properly. I mean, the way I was parented was very strict, so I don't want to do it that way. But reversing that is another challenge for me too. So I learned how burnout affects your relationships, your parenting, even relationships with your partner too. I remember having that conversation with my husband. He asked me, "Are we okay?" It was so difficult to answer that, but I took the
Yeah.
courage to say, "No, you are okay, but I'm not. So let me find myself." And I think when you're burnout, you tend to have conflict with family and friends because you have internal conflict within. And that internal conflict within is leading to sickness to yourself, and then you're passing it to your family members too. And it's because of the sickness, and you have these medical bills, hospital bills, and you just tend to lose yourself when you're burnout because you feel like so overwhelmed with life. So you lose the confidence of even moving forward. Now, from a company perspective, or from a personal perspective, right, Ambrin? People might be
Yeah,
seeing, oh, he's very serious at work, right?
yeah,
Very
that's
diligent.
true.
But at the core, right, there's so many. Remember, I know Ambrin in psychology talks, you speak a lot about this. And I think there's so many unseen factors that people don't know about a person. That
Absolutely.
you're lonely. This is the suffering and silence part, that you're grieving, you're unhappy. Sometimes you're bullied at work too, or sometimes online you're bullied as well,
Yeah, that's true.
right? I mean, you're doing the best thing, and then people will like comment something it's like, okay.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah,
so and sometimes you're just anxious. There's so much mix of emotions of emptiness, being fearful, depressed, low energy. There's so much going on there. Now, how is it affecting a company? You might be asking. Well, if your people are burnout, they're actually sick. And sick means they are lower productivity, right? Lower productivity will always lead to profits. And people fail to understand this. They thought that, no, I'll give my people more salary. But it's
yeah,
not the
that's true.
salary, right?
Yeah,
They say a lot of people are actually disengaged and demotivated because it's not about how they're paid, but it's how they're treated too.
yeah,
And what I've seen in most organizations, there's a huge cost in terms of replacing and retraining people. Like when people leave, it will take at least one year or more to replace that knowledge of that person who left the company. So you might be thinking, I don't know, but these are really valid numbers, that really impacts an organization. So personally, on at work, burnout affects us all. And the good news about it is that
mhm.
there's really only one step to break free
Oh,
from everything, right? And I used to always have that victim mentality of, oh, I'm having this problem. But I think I was able to turn around every pain into purpose because I always remind myself that, wait, I have this problem, but I am not my problem. And then
wow.
take the responsibility of what do I need to do from here. And that moves everything for me. So I'll say it's okay to be a victim. Take a few minutes to digest that. Then choose to be a victor of your own story by taking 100% responsibility of what's happening and what you can do about it. And I've learned throughout my journey also that, burnout is not about, it's not depleting you. It's about recalibrating and reviewing what do you need to break free from your life? What is not working? What do you need to let go? And it's about also turning that pain that you have into a purpose. I mean, I became influential on LinkedIn not because I'm doing so many things or posting, etc. No, because I only shared one thing, my burnout journey and how others can come out from that. Because nobody thought us, Ambrin, right, that we have the choice, that we
Yeah,
have the power. I mean, I thought always like, I'm waiting for my husband to rescue me or for people to help me, but it's not. It's really not. It's about you accepting that weight. You have that power within you to create that life that you've always wanted. And I think that's the last slide. This is one of the most important questions I always ask myself and my clients. Because, we are living in a very techy, intelligent world now, but we forget to live in our hearts, right? Where God speaks, where your intuition is, where you can really, find the true source of whatever you're going through. So when you find it difficult, when you're overwhelmed, I say, just hold your heart and ask yourself, what do you need to stop doing? Or what do you need to start doing? Because
yeah,
stopping and starting are two small things, but it will again move you from exhaustion to evolution, so you can break free from burnout. That's all for me, Ambrin. I know we do have
Yeah,
questions. I'll be
yeah,
more than happy to answer those questions if we do have.
yeah. I think there are not many questions, but it's just the comment is, and I really like the comment that from burnout to break free and then breakthrough. Yeah, it's very well said, Chan. That's true. So yeah, you covered very good points here in the presentation, that how burnout is affecting and how it's actually taking away the productivity from the team. And it's more than like, team, it's like it affecting the entire life of the person. So it's very important to actually, you just said that you take a pause and recalibrate that what do you want to do in your life, and then how you can bring about the change. So I mean, I know as there is a one questions. Uh, oh, I think this is he's saying that why do you choose Dubai to do your coaching?
That's a good question, Chan.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know what? I've been here in Dubai since 2006, so this is really like my home now.
Yeah.
So, I think you always will soar where your home is. So
Yeah.
the second home for me is Dubai.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, you mentioned that there is the main contributing factor of the burnout is especially the pressure that we usually face from the work, and like when we try to juggle with so many roles and try to be perfect in every role, that's where the problem arises. That I think that. So, how to actually, what are the steps one needs to take to break free from that pressure to avoid burnout?
Ambrina, I always love questions because I
Yeah.
learned how, I can always give advice to people, but their advice, I mean, my advice might not work for them.
Mhm.
So that's why it's always good to ask yourself these questions, right?
Okay.
So remember, I asked that question, what is your heart telling you to do? And I will
Yeah.
also suggest to ask, right? To ask others also, because during that burnout, I was failing as a mother, as a wife. I felt that. So I had to ask my children, like, I always ask them, how can I be a better mother to you?
Yeah.
And surprisingly, it was only my story in my mind that I was a failed mother. Right?
Yeah.
And
That's
my daughters, the time they were still small, they're like, but you're perfect, mommy. We don't see any problem. And so we always have an agreement that, if there's something that I can do to become a better mother to you, then tell me. Or we will
yeah.
always have those honest conversations to always be at peace with myself too. And I even, even my clients, I always ask them to, how can I be a better coach to you? Or how can I
Yeah.
better serve you? Because I think we always have this story of I'm not enough or I'm not doing
Yeah.
good. But it's the quality of the questions we ask the people around us that can help us also grow, right, and evolve.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. Asking the right question, that where, because mostly we suffer the most from our thoughts. It's like,
Mm,
if we think that, okay, maybe we need to do the best in this and we need to do this, sometimes we need to accept that, okay, whatever we are doing is this. So acceptance is one of the best things. There's a question here by the Chan that does burnout happen to more women than men because they multitask a lot? Well, that's a very good question, actually.
yeah, I
What do you
love
think?
that question. I think you know what? Women is prone to it because of too many reasons. Number one, we're juggling too many roles, right? And that's true. And I think over the years, women used to be like housewives only. But now we're
Yeah,
expected to be equally successful as men, thrive in our careers, and then motherhood just didn't leave us. And we have to take
yeah,
care of our parents too. So
yeah,
I think yes. And second, because women are more emotional.
yeah,
And I've seen a lot of men who are burnout too, but you know what? They don't even admit it. They don't feel
yeah. That's true.
and they don't
That's very
accept
true.
it. So compared to women who are like, I need help, I'm not okay. I know we're very vocal about it. So maybe statistics will always say about, there are more women who are burnout because of the roles, because of our emotions. But you need to also be cautious. A lot of men are actually burnout too, but they're just silent about it.
Yeah,
So I will
That's
have to
true.
see the statistics to say.
Yeah, that's true, actually, because men are all often uh, hesitant to seek help. And that's the main
Mm,
problem, especially when we see that the suicide rate is much higher in men as compared to women, because, um, because they think that, it's not, it's against their ego to seek help, because it's not only because their ego, it's because that's how the society has trained them, be a
yeah.
man, like, be, don't
Mhm.
shy away from this, you need to be tough, you need to be stronger, but they don't know that, you can't be strong all the time, you can't be that pressure needs to be taken away from us. And I think Matthew is asking I think we are obviously seeing burnout on the rise today with so much disruption to every industry in the super cycle. Yeah, of course, this is so much, especially the AI and the this revolution of AI is actually putting a lot of pressure on a lot of people. Like, a lot of people are losing job, and that's another story. That especially when people face some financial problems, they face, I mean, they have to do a lot to survive. And but
Mm,
sometimes they need to realize that, the more they take care of themselves, the better they can perform, right?
exactly. I
Yeah,
learned also, Ambrin, how the mind hates change, right? Because,
yeah,
every change creates fear in the mind because it's unknown. And
yeah,
with too much changes every day in technology, in the way we operate life, it's creating so much disruption, in ourselves. So that's actually leads to stress, the stress that leads to sickness. So, and I think there's always, I mean, we initially had a discussion of the pros and cons of technology, right? And it's
yeah.
about striking that balance, because the moment you have that imbalance, and it becomes a cause of worry and burnout. Now I think Ambrin, you're on mute.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. So, yeah, I was just, what advice would you like to give to the audience, that how they can prevent burnout? I mean, what are the signs that they should know beforehand, that if that they are reaching the tipping point?
There are many signs. Actually,
Yeah,
the moment you're sick, that's the last sign already, because
yeah,
it becomes a physical manifestation
yeah,
of the burnout. But the moment you feel, your feelings will tell you already. Are you feeling down? Are you feeling low, demotivated? You're losing meaning, right, and purpose. Like, you're question the own reason for your existence, right, or why
yeah,
you're doing what you're doing.
yeah,
Now it becomes so deep and stressful that you become sick. So I'm saying, you become aware of this, emotions that you have. You become aware of what your body is telling you, because when you're stressed, you can feel it. There's different parts of your body that's have tension. Now, when you're diagnosed with sickness, then that's higher highest level of story already. But
yeah,
mentally also, I mean, if you are finding it difficult to sleep because your mind is keeping you awake, then I think there are many tools you can use. So, for example, if your mind keeps on giving you those, negative words or whatever thoughts, you can always say, "Thank you, mind, for sharing," and then ask your mind, "What do you want me to do?" I
wow,
learned our minds are not actually our enemy. It wants to protect us
yeah,
from all the fearful things. So it
yeah,
keeping us that negative, whatever voice is that. But that voice can be your best friend too, by
yeah,
asking the right question. So you say,
yeah,
"Thank you, mind, for sharing. What do
yeah,
you want me to do? Can we sleep now?" And then
yeah,
it will answer. You'll be surprised. So
yeah,
similarly, your heart can speak too. I mean, before, when my mentors or coaches tell me, "Wanda, listen to your heart." Like, what? It really
yes,
does. I mean, every part of your body, if you need to speak to it, it will. But you need to be in that state when you're ready to listen. So you
yeah,
just be in a peaceful state, and then, ask whatever part of your body that's in pain, and ask, "What do you want me to do to feel better now?" And there
yeah.
will be answer. So that's simple, but it's very powerful too.
Absolutely. I love that tip, because, I always tell, and then people don't, realize, and like basically, I was reading the book of the Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he actually said the same thing, that you need to connect with your body organs, because if he actually mentioned that if our thoughts and if our mind can make you sick, then it also has the power to heal you, right? And that's
Mm.
exactly it is that we we need to speak to our, because our mind knows how to actually control all organs and everything. So we just need to connect with our own self and ask that what is the problem, and you will be surprised. And I'm so glad that you put up this point, because I do these things a lot to myself also, to when you're feeling down or you're feeling depressed, you just ask that why. You just see yourself and go in the meditative state, and go visualize yourself, ask yourself what's wrong with you, why you are sad, and you will be surprised. You may not hear just on just like a friend, that you will just get the answer right away. You need to build that, as you said, that you need to be in the state, and
Mm.
to listen to this. I think there's a very good comment that Timothy is saying that I find praying just before sleep helps me sleep better. Yes, I think that's also very good technique to meditate and to do these things. Yeah.
That's very powerful. Sometimes when I also cannot, I just, in our religion, there's a rosary. When I
Okay.
cannot sleep and, I've done everything, I was like, I'm
Mm.
going to pray the rosary until I fall
Mhm.
asleep.
Yeah,
Because
it's
your mind relaxes, right? And then it's like repetitive.
absolutely.
So you
Yeah.
feel asleep.
Especially when you pray or when you connect with the God, there's also it's a way that you put all, you give all the worries to the God, and because that's how it is, that God will take care of it, and you feel
Hmm.
so peaceful. So it's another way of looking this. I also want to ask, especially when you said that you also train leaders, so what are the ways, like leader can take action to prevent burnout in their teams?
You know what I learned from leaders? There are always two kind of leaders, the transformational and the transactional. Because
Yeah,
nobody teaches us also how to be a good leader.
yeah.
So ask yourself, are you inspiring your people, right?
Mm.
Are you giving them the space? Because majority of the leaders sometimes are micromanaging,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
because of your micromanaging ability or the way you're managing your people, it's burning you out too, because you always have like expectation, right,
yeah,
about your people. If they don't meet that expectation, then you tired, you get stressed, and you get burnout. But I always realize how 80% of problems is because of communication, and it can be solved through communication too. So I will say for leaders, you will avoid burnout if you learn how to communicate with your people in terms of what do you really want, what are your expectations, what do you want your staff to do, so you can together achieve whatever goal is set, to your team by the organization. So I'll say you're one conversation away from becoming, and there's no perfect leader, but I've
yeah.
learned that the best leaders know how to listen to people.
Yeah, yeah. I think listening is the best thing, especially when it comes to, I mean, in to develop a relationship with anyone. It's not only
Mm.
linked to the leaders only, although it's very critical trait that leader needs to listen uh, to the to the team, and to be more empathic uh, to to their signs also, that what their team is going through. Sometimes if someone is not performing well, it doesn't mean that they are not talented or they are not well suited to the role. There may be some really big thing going on in their lives which are draining them or exhausting them. So sometimes you just need to connect, listen to them, that what is happening in their life, just be there for them. And one thing is, like, as a coach, like, you must be knowing, and of course I also provide a lot of counseling to, it's just sometimes being there, listening to them resolve lots of problems. The other person who may be feeling so heavy with their problem, depressed, but just be there, listen to them, will take the load of them, of those thoughts from them, and they feel light and they feel really good, and you build a better relationship. There's also a very good comment by the Matthew that micromanaging, they are sometimes they are micromanaging, because that is the orders from the toxic board, that the word micromanagement makes my skin curl. If in a toxic environment or leadership, find an exit strategy. Yes, definitely. There's no way that one should stay there for the toxic relationship, or for the toxic management, or at the workplace, because you need to protect your peace. That's true.
True, true.
That's true.
You know, what I just want to add, I mean, you're talking about that coaching, right? I think there are three basic human needs that
Yeah.
everybody needs. That's to be heard, to be understood, and to be accepted.
Yes.
And I think, you don't need to be a coach to hear another person who needs help. Sometimes, especially for women, we just want to vent out, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Of
for
course.
women, really, talking is therapy for us. For
Yeah.
men, it might be drinking or something else. But just want to be understood that they have their own ways of mechanism. But I think those, they call it HUA. So to be heard, to be understood, to be accepted is something that we all need. And when you can give that to any other person, that is the best gift, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Just being there, listening to them, it helps them, and they feel more accepted, and they feel more appreciated. And you are doing this a lot with this for the coach, for your uh, for your clients and everything. One thing also I just want to ask, I mean, before, we have only like very less time left, but how to find the balance with all the roles. Of course, we have to be there as a leader, we have to be there as a, like, for me, as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter. So how we can find the balance which does not create a burnout?
For me, it's writing. Writing is kinesthetic, right? I mean, like we always eat food and then we have to go to the washroom to remove that. Like for me, really, writing is therapy. Like
Yeah.
before I start to work, I will give myself the time to write whatever is bothering me, my fears. I will write what I'm thankful for, what I want to forgive myself for. Everything. It's like a mind dump.
Yeah.
So that way I'm not stuck here. My emotions are also dumped in that paper. So
Yeah.
I start the day with a clean slate, or if I forget it, then something I do in the evening. And I thankfully, my daughters have seen me doing this, and they started to do. I mean,
Yeah.
right now there's so much chaos in the world that even I myself, I'm not the best coach to my children anymore. But the only thing I told them, if you find it overwhelming, get a paper and
Yeah.
then dump it.
Yeah, that's true. For me also, writing is therapy, for me, writing is everything. I love to write, and I like to, even, like, for example, I do not only journaling. I write. I use writing techniques to to resolve the conflicts in my life. Whenever I stuck in the decision making process, I also write down to see that what are these options are there. So writing has a lot of benefits. So I can
Mm.
completely relate to what you say. It's the therapy. It's like the kind of assistant, I would say. Just go there, write down, and ask questions. Then I see it, because when you see it, it will give you clear perspective. Yeah.
Exactly. I think, technology have stolen that ability for us to write anymore because, we're always in our cell phones,
Yes.
laptop. And then
Yeah.
even when I do exercises, either in training or with coaching, why don't you get the paper? And then I'm like, really? I need to have a paper and a pen.
Yes.
But after doing those exercises of writing, of letting go, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much, trash that went out from their systems. So they're surprised how simple, writing can be a powerful therapy itself.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So I know, where, if anybody wants to reach out to you, what is the best medium to reach out to you?
I definitely am always on LinkedIn.
Okay,
And
yeah,
it's my number one. I mean, I
yeah,
have
it is.
other social media platforms, but I can definitely connect with you best on LinkedIn so I can answer all your messages. So
Okay, yeah.
thank you again, Ambreen, for this opportunity.
Yeah, I think let me share the LinkedIn link for her. This is so anybody wants to connect
Maybe
with
I'll
it.
just share a story because talking to your body is very difficult for most people, right? Even to my mom. And there was a time she was in the hospital for 14 days already. And it was like, Mom, can we talk to your lungs? Because the lungs is continuously producing fluid. And the lungs of mom said that she's producing fluid because of the stress in the hospital. So can
Oh,
see, imagine that cycle of how can she get
yeah,
out if the fluid is because of the hospital, right?
yeah.
So we have to ask the lungs for the solution. How
Okay,
can we stop the fluid so you can go out? And it really
okay.
stopped. In the
Wow,
next 24 hours, the fluid stopped and she was released. And I think this is
wow.
this is the gift of listening to your body. I mean, it
Mhm.
sounds so complex, but it's really easy. But in 24 hours, you get those results already, and
Wow.
anybody can do it. So I just
This,
hope. I
yes,
mean, if
yes.
my mom's complexity, I mean, it's the egg and chicken, right? So, but really asking solution from within is the best way to really heal yourself from anything.
Absolutely. Anyway, so thank you so much for joining today,
Welcome.
sharing these wonderful insights. I love those tips and advice, especially like talking to your body, because this one I already do. And whenever I tell people, sometimes people don't understand, but those who
Mm.
understand, they can actually reap the benefit from this technology, this tool. So thank you so much for joining. Thanks to all those audience, Hawk, Matthew, Valerie, Timothy, and so many, Chen, and Peter, and so many others who have been maybe silent listener to us. So thank you so much. And there is a break for 30 minutes, and I'll see you in 30 minutes. Okay, bye
Thanks
bye.
everybody. Thank you, Ambri. Thank you, Andrea and Valerie. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.